right.
For all the dads out there, have a great Father's Day. Hope you have a good weekend.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Excuse me. Good morning and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. Took my breath away. Hopefully didn't take away yours, but we appreciate you joining us this morning here on Fox Local and on YouTube. I'm Garrett Weimer, and we do have a lot to get to in this hour. I want to let you know a little bit of what we have ahead of us here and give you a live look as well at this news conference going on right now in Apopka. That is Representative Johanna Lopez, Democrat from Orlando, and speaking at this news conference where a family is talking about deportation, saying that that is tearing their family apart, and they have some details on that. I'll give you a little bit of more information here in just a minute. We're also going to hear from the Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, who was in Bay County talking about the takedown of an illegal driver's licensing scheme where they allege some employees in the tax collector's office there had been selling driver's licenses to illegal immigrants for cash without having taken the driver's tests as well. We're also expecting a satellite launch from Starlink coming up in about 20 minutes. I want to go ahead and take you to this news conference in Apopka. Again, this is Representative Johanna Lopez, state lawmaker. This family says that their parents are being in the process of being deported or have been deported. Esvin Juarez, the father of 4 children who are U.S. citizens, detained at an immigration check-in, was deported to Guatemala 8 days later. Attorneys say they were well into the process of receiving a U visa with protected status for victims of crimes, for being a victim of crime. Let's go ahead and listen in as Representative Lopez speaks here.
3 of them are still minors. Imagine the fear they feel. Imagine the trauma they are enduring. What message are we sending when we criminalize a mother for surviving and seeking justice, and in the process traumatize American children? This is not just an act of cruelty. It is a violation of our laws and our values. Mrs. Juarez, detention is illegal. She should not be behind bars. Her children should not be living in fear, and our government should not be tearing apart families, especially when it has no legal basis to do so. Shame! We must do better. Let us be considerate of the human cost. Let us be compassionate to our families already traumatized. Let us be fair in how we apply the law. And above all, let's not follow the law by immediately releasing Mrs. Juarez and returning her with her children where she belongs. Thank you. Y si se puede, no se para nadie. Seguimos para adelante.
One other note of context here, Rosmeri Miranda, the mother in this family, was detained yesterday and is now facing deportation as well. So let's go ahead and continue to listen. That's State Representative Ana Escamani speaking there.
Parts in the streets may be ticketed now, and so be mindful of that. And then this car that's blocking this gate is also potential at risk. So I just want to flag that.
Para que sepan, nosotros no podemos bloquear el pasillo, entonces nosotros podemos tener como un espacio, podemos estar en el pasillo, pero no podemos bloquear. Tampoco podemos tener los carros en la calle y el carro que está allí, el otro carro que está allá.
Several organizations, several elected officials we have seen at this this news conference. And here's Representative Bracy Davis.
Good morning. Let me just say this. My name is State Representative LaVon Bracy Davis. It's a delight to be here. And I just want to serve notice on the president, on the governor, on all of their allies that we will not be intimidated. Let's be real clear. We will not be intimidated. You will not scare us. As long as there are allies to the immigrant community like myself, I'm actually, believe it or not, speaking right now from a place of privilege, which I don't usually am able to do. But right now, as a Black American, I'm speaking in a place of privilege, and so I'm doing a call to action of all of our allies. If you have the opportunity to speak in a place of privilege, if you have safety that you can speak from, you need to elevate your voice, and you need to speak out about the injustices that are happening with the immigrant community. So I'm not talking to ICE right now. I'm not talking to Donald Trump right now. I'm not talking to Ron DeSantis right now. I'm talking to my siblings in the struggle. I'm talking to you all out there that know what's going on with this immigrant community. You need to join our efforts. You need to speak out. You need to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You need to support your brother and sister. You need to be your brother and sister's keeper. Thank you.
Linda from League of Women Voters. Here she comes.
Linda!
First, I want to thank everybody for being here. This is absolutely amazing, but especially to Beverly. Beverly, thank you. Okay, no. My name is Linda Coffin, and I'm representing the nonpartisan League of Women Voters in Orange County. We believe that immigration policy should promote reunification of immediate families and that all people should receive fair treatment under the law. According to the Constitution, due process is guaranteed right for every citizen and for non-citizens. Thank you.
Now we're going to have one of our community veterans, Aaron. Párate al lado de él. Asegúrate que estés al lado de él.
Morning. My name is Aaron Lewis. I am a U.S. Army veteran, president of the Family Support Network, a member of Florida Rising, and the proud son of an immigrant whose journey embodies the hope, struggles, and resilience of countless immigrant families. When I was 6 years old, walking the halls of Bonneville Elementary here in Central Florida, my mother was undocumented, working as a healthcare aide, living every day with uncertainty. Her path to citizenship was marked not only by hope and hard work, but by the systemic hurdles that were placed before her. I can vividly recall when immigration officials lost her paperwork, forcing her to restart the entire costly process from scratch through no fault of her own. Despite these setbacks, my mother persevered. She moved from being an undocumented healthcare aide to earning her green card and becoming a certified nursing assistant. Eventually, she proudly raised her right hand to become not just a U.S. citizen, but immediately stepping into public service as a sworn-in deputy at the Seminole County Jail, where she served her community with compassion. Today, she's a sworn probation officer in the state of Maine, an achievement that was made possible because she was afforded due process. This fundamental American promise of due process now hangs in the balance for the Juarez family. Esvin Juarez and Rosmeri Miranda, Central Florida residents of over 2 decades, face imminent deportation despite qualifying for a crime victim U visa. ICE detained Esvin during a routine checkup, and Rosmeri now awaits forced deportation. Their 4 U.S.-born children are pleading for their parents' rights to be respected, and their voices are being echoed across social media and within our community, as you see here today. Policies from the Trump administration, perpetuated by Governor Ron DeSantis' administration, have eroded the principles of fairness, compassion, and due process. Immigration enforcement must never be about fear or division. It must be about justice, transparency, and humanity. Due process allowed my mother to fulfill her American dream, a dream shared by millions. That is the Constitution that I took an oath to defend when I joined the United States Army. And today, we demand that same justice and compassion for Esvin, Rosmeri, and their children. We call on ICE to stop these deportations immediately. We urge the courts to swiftly grant the emergency motion to reopen their case. This isn't just about one family. This is about who we are as a nation. We must unify around the principles that define America: justice, due process, and the fair treatment of every human being. Not every natural-born U.S. citizen, every human being. Let us stand for the Juarez family, for every family, and for the soul of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you for your service. Well, we're concluding right now, but we want to open up for questions. Is there any questions? You can ask questions in English and Spanish.
Yes. Sabrina Majority 1009 actually texted me something while we were up here.
Okay.
Yesterday, the Florida Attorney General issued a stern warning to protests at a no King's Day.
Right.
Any comments on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yesterday, our appointed Attorney General, and I say that because he has not been elected by the people of Florida, and I highly doubt he ever will, but James Uthmeyer, alongside Sheriff Wayne Ivey over in Brevard County, facilitated a press conference where inflammatory comments were made, essentially threatening to kill individuals who protest on Saturday, June 14th, and arguably at any time. These comments, alongside comments made by other extremist politicians threatening harm to those who exercise their First Amendment rights, are intentionally inflammatory, are dangerous to the health and well-being of our First Amendment rights, and of course are a distraction. Because instead of focusing on answering to what President Trump is doing with the lack of due process, with the illegal detainment, deportation of individuals, instead of answering questions about the lawlessness of this country right now, they want to pivot, distract, and threaten us for speaking out. And so my response is that we're not going to take the bait, that your inflammatory remarks are not going to intimidate us, and we will continue to express ourselves and demonstrate that the majority of this country are in opposition to what we are seeing coming out of the Trump administration. And this is one issue of many where President Trump is underwater. And so I'm not going to take the bait, but the comments are intentionally inflammatory, and we look forward to gathering at the thousands here in Florida on Saturday for the No King's Day, and in millions around the country.
Any further message to protesters?
I would tell to our protesters who are coming out on Saturday that it's so important to not take the bait, to be peaceful in our activism, and to center directly impacted people above all else. Representative LaVon Brace Davis mentioned this. She has privilege. I have privilege. As citizens of this country, we have privilege. And so remember, there's a lot of folks who don't feel safe going out. I was talking to some of our Venezuelan TPS holders yesterday who told me they want to come on Saturday, but they're scared to. And so for those of us who have the privilege, we have to amplify the voices of those who are directly impacted. And of course, we will do so, as we always do, in a peaceful way. but we're also going to be building power long term. And so to remind everyone that a protest is not a goal, it's a tactic. So we have to build power long term to switch the electorate, to switch those who represent us as the electorate, and to ensure that we could stop these policies from being implemented at every level of government.
And for anyone who wants to answer, what does the community need to know about the organizing on the ground ahead of these protests?
Well, I think what's really impactful about these national protests on Saturday is that they're organic, they're decentralized, and we have a lot of first-time activists and first-time participants. So it really does speak to how President Trump has awakened everyday Americans of all generations to come out and speak in opposition to what we're seeing come out of this administration, and of course what's coming out of Governor Ron DeSantis' administration, because unfortunately two are the same these days. Anything else?
What's the next step for the protest happening?
Does I don't know if Beverly wants to speak to that, but
Definitely, you want to talk.
Yeah. Okay. So, as far as right now, all we know is that my mom was found to be in the Orange County Jail. It seems that she has no charges. She was just detained and sent there. But we are fighting we were fighting in federal court. They denied the case, and so we moved to a different court in Atlanta. And this is more of a question for my attorney because I'm not very sure on the details. But we're fighting it in a different court, and we're waiting to hear what they have to say for my mom. As for my dad, he has that pending U visa, so we're gonna fight to bring him back. And if we're not successful, we're just going to have to wait until we can bring him back with that permanent residency. Like I said, we don't know why the deportation happened because he's gonna have to come back eventually when the permanent residency comes in. So it's very unreasonable. Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions?
¿Preguntas en español?
You want a one-on-one? Sí. Thank you everyone for being here. I know some of us can do one-on-one.
At a news conference wrapping up in Apopka there. It looks like our feed may have frozen at the end anyway. And at the very end, you also heard from Beverly Juarez, who is the daughter of these ICE detainees who are and fighting their deportations. Again, Esvin Juarez, the father of 4 U.S. citizen children. You heard Beverly talk about him being in the process of receiving a U visa. Their mother just detained yesterday, now facing a deportation. And this couple did originally enter the U.S. from Guatemala illegally more than 20 years ago. They're asking for these deportations to be stayed in order to have an immigration hearing in front of a judge. The Juarez family says their case with ICE began back in 2010. You also heard specifically from State Rep Anna Escamani talking about the No King's Day protests, which are scheduled for tomorrow across the country. A number of them scheduled here in our area as well. And just want to go ahead and let you know that we will have special streaming coverage of that here on Fox Local beginning at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And we will have that going all day. I'll be here to take you through protests here in our area and across the country. So you can join us for that here on Fox 35 News Plus, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break, but before we do, want to let you know this launch, Starlink launch, originally scheduled for 11:21, looks like it's been pushed back to 11:29, so about 13 more minutes until that. Hoping to see that launch here in just a few minutes. We're going to take a break on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now. And Brooks, still talking about that Saharan dust hanging around.
Oh, it's so true, Garrett, and it's so just stifling outside. It tends to trap a lot of low-level humidity, and so there's a certain feeling to the air. It just feels a lot stuffier than it otherwise would on a hot, humid June day here in Central Florida. You can see the haze in the sky as temperatures ascend through the middle and upper 80s. We're going to be in the low 90s today for high temperatures, but the dew points right now are in the middle and upper 70s. Dew points from 77 in the Villages to Winter Haven is air you can wear. And arguably, if we didn't have the Saharan air above us, it's an inversion, which is hotter air aloft, and it traps air at the surface. You don't get that like atmospheric mixing where you get drier, cooler air from aloft. It arguably makes it a lot more steamy and stuffy when the Saharan air is present, which is ironic because, well, Saharan air has qualities of the Sahara Desert. It's hot and it's super dry. The problem is it's way up high. It's like 5,000 feet up. And so we don't have the benefit of that drier air here at the surface. But what it does do is it traps a lot of the evapotranspiration. Like see on that graphic, the little drops of water on the tree leaves. That's from rain, but sometimes it can happen just from the tree sweating. Well, that evaporates on a large scale, makes it feel more humid outside. We got swamps, wetlands, warm Gulf waters, evapotranspiration. It all adds to a lot of low-level humidity that never gets vented into the upper levels of the atmosphere. And that's why, one of the reasons anyway, it's so steamy when the Saharan air is visible. It also might have you coughing. That's a look at Lake Fairview, and it is noticeably hazy. We're going to see a high today of 93 in the Villages today, 92 in Orlando, and 90 in Titusville. Sea breeze keeping it a few degrees cooler at the coastline, but really before the sea breeze hits Orlando, which probably happens around 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon, it will be really, really steamy. Look at the beach, things are good, but it's hazy there. Temperature is topping out in the middle and upper 80s. Water temperature at the beach, 82. A moderate risk for rip currents with 1 to 3 foot waves. All right, let's talk about future radar. With the Saharan dust present, well, that's also going to limit our overall coverage of thunderstorms. It does tend to absorb a lot of the mid-level moisture, but if storms do form, which they will, we'll have a couple of transient passing downpours in 1 hour, out the next here in Orlando. They could pack some gusty winds. Oftentimes dry air being sucked into thunderstorms translates into what can be downburst winds over 60 miles per hour. So 1 or 2 storms could be severe just by default of the dust being present. Ironically, a lot of irony with the Saharan dust. Makes it steamy even though it's Saharan air, and makes the storms a little bit more severe potentially. But with the sea breeze colliding today on the I-75 corridor, where the Atlantic sea breeze makes it all the way to the Villages before bumping into the Gulf sea breeze, that's where the storms could remain between 7 and 11 p.m. before they rain themselves out. So while they'll just be passing downpours in Orlando mid-afternoon, they could linger for hours there on I-75, producing copious amounts of rain, well over 3 inches. Tomorrow, we're going to do it all over again, although that sea breeze collision zone looks like it may be a little closer to Orlando. So for our Father's Day weekend, our Saturday evening, we may have some boomers right over Disney Springs and a lot of the attractions. So if you have plans tomorrow night out on the town or at the attractions, that could be an issue we face. We'll see anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain today, and then maybe another couple of inches tomorrow. So, hey, there's good news, though. A lot of this rain will be falling over the drought-stricken regions of Central Florida. In orange, that's severe drought. Drought conditions have improved markedly. In Orlando, there's no more drought. It's been erased. But with these regular rainy season rains, that too will improve there in the severe drought zone in Marion County. I expect that by the end of July to be gonzo. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. Next 7 days, Father's Day is on Sunday. We're going to see rain chances continuing to diminish into early next week, but with that additional sunshine, we'll see temperatures warming up from the low 90s to the mid 90s, representing a temperature outlook that's some 3 or 4 degrees above normal. But yeah, Garrett, as far as the Saharan dust goes, it's to me a great irony that this hot, dry air mass just above the ground can lead to some steamier conditions at the surface. Now, that steamier setup where the Saharan air actually makes it more humid, it doesn't last all day. Once you get the sea breeze in here, it kind of that dries us out and cools us down a little bit. But it's sort of like out in the Midwest when you get, if you've heard the term corn sweat, you can have these big upper level heat ridges of high pressure that just get those days in Iowa where it's like 95 or 100 degrees. But the dew point goes up to like 80 because the corn has a lot of evapotranspiration, releases a lot of water, and it evaporates into water vapor, gets trapped at the surface, and it just gets super steamy. So we kind of see a similar thing happening with that Saharan air.
Yeah, interesting effect there. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner, we appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure as always, Garrett. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
And we're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back after this, give you a live look along our Space Coast, Space Launch Complex 40, Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, easy for me to say, where we are expecting a launch here in just a few minutes of some Starlink satellites. Going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
And welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer. We appreciate you joining us on this Friday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. You can see the timer, the countdown going, about 2.5 minutes until the SpaceX expected to launch, trying to launch a Falcon 9 with 23 Starlink satellites, about 13 of those with those direct-to-cell capabilities. So this launch from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station here in Florida. The original launch time was 11:21. They could go until 11:44 today, but again, it looks like things are on schedule right now for that 11:29 launch. After this launch, a few minutes later, when the stages separate, we are expected to see the first stage land on a drone ship that is stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. 2 minutes and counting here. Let's go ahead and listen in as we get ready for this launch.
Ground gas closeouts. Falcon 9 is in startup. LD, go for launch. T minus 30 seconds. 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff. Go Falcon, go SpaceX, go direct to cell. Vehicles pushing downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal. Power and telemetry nominal. Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max Q.
We will continue monitoring this Starlink launch. It has taken off from the Space Coast of Florida, but I want to go ahead and get you to the Pulse Memorial site. This is Donna Weish, been the outreach coordinator for the City of Orlando, speaking there as Pulse site visits continue today for family members of the victims and for survivors. Tomorrow will also continue with those. Yesterday marked 9 years since that shooting. Let's go ahead and listen in as she speaks live, and we'll see what she has to say.
Oh boy.
I think they may just be getting ready to speak there, so we can check back in on that in just a minute. But again, we have been told that about 250 people are going through those site visits over this stretch of several days.
Well, I think you said it's range. It's a range of emotions. I think what you find when people have gone through some of this, like the survivors who were in the club and who were injured and who got out, and then you think about the families who lost a loved one here, walking into there is going to spike their emotions. I mean, it's just the way it is. And in any trauma chart that you look at, it shows resiliency of the human spirit. You know, it shows the spike at the event. It shows a very gradual decline in the emotions around the trauma, right? But then you're going to find other spikes at birthdays and holidays and June 12th. You know, you're going to find those spikes. But generally, people and time, and this has been 9 years, but this isn't about closure. It's about healing. It's a part of that journey to healing, because the old saying, my mother said it for years, time heals, and it does. But this has been a delay for them, a little bit of a delay for them in getting in that building.
I want to ask you about that, because we've seen other mass shootings around the country, even that plane crash recently in D.C., and I mean, days later, here come the families to see the crash, right?
Of course.
This situation in Orlando has been unlike any other, because it's been not just that 9-year span and all the things that happened during it, including the pandemic that delayed things, the One Pulse Foundation situation. Talk about how that added to the trauma for many of these people.
You know, so many things, right, that were out of a lot of people's control. And I don't know that we can just dwell on that. I think it's time to move forward from that. And this was one way we could do that.
Is there
You know, I think they find solace in being in that space because it's a very sacred space for so many people. And, you know, they just want to be wherever their loved one was or wherever they escaped. And that's the important thing for them. And it's, again, Nancy said it, it's a range of emotions that go on just being in that space.
Has anyone said something to you as to how they're dealing with it once they go inside? You know, what are some of those responses that you're seeing from different families?
You know, mostly folks just want to know where their loved one was so they can be in that space. You know, survivors want to walk through how they got out. You know, you would think that that's exactly what people would want to do. You know, it's just to be in that space and feel all the feels, you know, and we're all feeling them in there, right? So it's just that sacred place. And it's quiet, and it gives them 30 minutes to be however they want to be in there. And they're totally supported in that environment.
I talked to one survivor who said she knows she got out. She couldn't remember clearly
Right.
where, how.
Yeah.
Have you found that among the survivors? And can you talk about sort of the...
No, it's interesting. They all have their own perspectives about what happened, and they can just walk through it with you and talk to you about it, which is absolutely fine. But you have to understand that when you're in that moment, when you're in crisis, the frontal lobe of your brain doesn't take in information logically, right? It won't remember everything, and it won't help you make good decisions in a lot of times. We see that from homelessness and homeless families not knowing what to do in that moment of crisis to something like this. It really is about brain function.
Have you found survivors have been able to remember certain details because of the time they spent in there?
I think so. Yeah, I've not walked with every one of them, but definitely, you know, they've had that opportunity. Yeah, for sure. Sure, certainly. Of course.
Donna Weiss, the outreach coordinator, speaking there at the Pulse site as the site visits continue. Meanwhile, you have seen stage separation and expecting, as you watch the first stage, coming back to Earth, getting ready to land on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Let's go ahead and listen in as that happens.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Stage 1 landing confirmed on that drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean as the Starlink satellites continue their voyage. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. 8 people have been arrested so far in what officials are calling an illegal immigrant driver's licensing scheme. 2 of those people arrested were employees with essentially the DMV, with the county tax collector's office in Bay County, where investigators say those employees were offering licenses in exchange for cash. That the folks they were offering them to never had to take the written test, never had to take the driving test. Attorney General James Othmeyer was in Bay County yesterday afternoon with the Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford as they talked about this case and why they say it's so serious.
These weren't minor shortcuts. These were intentional acts of corruption where individuals paid bribes in exchange for skipping critical safety evaluations. The investigation also led us to arrest 5 additional individuals who are acting as brokers running local businesses that claim to assist with immigration paperwork, but instead arranged illegal transactions and funneled aliens from as far away as Miami to obtain licenses fraudulently. Let me be clear that putting untested, unqualified drivers, especially those with commercial licenses, on our roads is an unacceptable risk to every family in this state. These licenses were essentially sold, not earned. That means we have individuals on the road, possibly operating tractor trailers, who never demonstrated the basic skills to do so safely. It's not a paperwork issue. It's a direct threat to highway safety and a betrayal of the public trust. The scope of this investigation: yesterday we seized over $120,000 in illicit proceeds tied to this operation. Evidence suggests that hundreds, if not more than 1,000 fraudulent driver's licenses were issued as part of this scheme. It's been ongoing for over 2 years, and this investigation is continuing to be ongoing and will expand statewide as we work to identify those who receive licenses illegally and hold all parties accountable. Each license issued could result in felony criminal charges for the license holder, and our investigation will be expanded by our state partners to hold these individuals accountable. A search warrant was executed yesterday at a business in Callaway called Cuba Max, which is involved in processing immigration documents. Again, I want to commend the outstanding teamwork and partnership of our investigators. It's a multi-agency effort with close coordination between law enforcement, the tax collector's office, and other state and local partners. This is the kind of teamwork it takes to root out corruption and protect our citizens. I'd also like to commend our tax collector, Chuck Perdue. As soon as he was made aware of this investigation, he became an investigator himself. He worked with us closely to make sure that these individuals were held accountable. Certainly a difficult situation when individuals in your office choose to do the wrong thing, but the important part is that we hold them accountable when we do that. So Chuck, thank you for your efforts. So we want to talk about the individuals that we arrested. The tax collector employees are Banceli Velazou, age 37, of Panama City, charged with 9 counts of DMV employee issuing a fraudulent ID, which is a felony, and 9 counts of official misconduct. Demetrius Smith II, age 30, of Panama City, on 8 counts of DMV issuing a fraudulent ID and 8 counts of official misconduct. And additional charges are anticipated as each fraudulent driver's license can result in additional charges. The intermediaries that we arrested, who were the individuals that the aliens would contact, and they would be referred to our 2 tax collector employees, were a Nirbus Rosales, age 37. She was arrested on 24 counts of principal to DMV fraud and 24 counts as a principal to official misconduct. Leonardo Gutierrez, age 32, of Panama City, 7 counts of principal to DL fraud and 7 counts of official misconduct. Hung Du, age 58, of Panama City, on 36 counts of principal to fraud and 36 counts of official misconduct. Esbredia Para, age 44, Panama City, 7 counts of principal to DL fraud and 7 counts of principal to official misconduct. Zola Gonzalez Pena, age 38, 12 counts. Also arrested but not identified as operating as an intermediary was Myrna Fernandez of Panama City on a charge of unlawful possession of a driver's license. It's believed that Fernandez obtained her driver's license fraudulently yesterday, paying to receive a passing grade on her exam and the skills exam. To those who think that they can compromise public safety for profit, know this: we will find you, we will bring you to justice. And to the people of Bay County, I want you to know we are committed to preserving the integrity of our institutions and the safety of our roads. Thank you, and I'd now like to turn it over to our Attorney General.
Thank you, Sheriff. It's good to be in Bay County. This county is certainly blessed to have great law enforcement and leaders. I commend the Sheriff and Tax Collector Chuck Perdue on working so well with state law enforcement, Homeland Security, and all of our law enforcement partners to ensure that we could bust these guys. I think today is yet another example of how the Biden border policy puts American families at risk. Here you've got hundreds of aliens that are cheating, that are breaking the law, that are buying driver's licenses without taking the test, getting on the roads, putting everybody in danger. So, if there's any silver lining to come out of this terrible, discovery, it's that law enforcement worked very well together, continued to follow the breadcrumbs, and ultimately uncovered, a pretty widespread and advanced operation. So we know it happened here. If it happened here, there's a good chance it could be happening in a county somewhere else. So I ask, our DMV offices or tax collectors around the state, pay attention, do a deep dive, look out for, any signs of somebody taking cash on the side to help criminal aliens get driver's licenses. Maybe that can happen in California, but not here in Florida. We are a rule of law state. And we will do everything we can to work with the Trump administration and our federal partners to enforce the law. We've been working up and down the state, ensuring that we're keeping people safe. We were in Brevard County earlier this morning where we highlighted a new program to protect the ICE agents and the federal authorities that are coming into our state to enforce the law. In California, you've got leftist groups out there that want to reveal personal information. They want to dox agents. If you don't understand this word, if it's new to you, doxing is when you reveal personal identifying information with the purpose of intimidating, threatening, and distracting from official duties. We want these guys here. They're protecting our families, and while they protect our families, we're going to protect theirs. So we've set up this new program where ICE and federal authorities can work with our troopers, and if there's any evidence of personal information getting out, we want to know. We'll ensure that we're doing routine checkups and get a detail to protect the agents and their families. As we go into the weekend, I know there's been, some rumblings about protests and demonstrations. We've all seen the horror in California with the destruction, the violence, the flames, the anti-American behavior. That doesn't happen here. In Florida, rioting is illegal. If you throw something, if you obstruct roadways, if you want to cause damage or harm to law enforcement, businesses, or our citizens, we will find you and we will put you away for a long time. So to put everybody on notice, if you want to participate in, peaceful free speech, nobody respects that more than we do. If you want to cause damage and destruction and engage in these violent demonstrations, we will shut it down fast. So again, a big thank you to the law enforcement here. Thanks to the sheriff for a very good job well done. Thanks to our federal partners. And we'll continue to investigate. We'll continue to make sure that Florida is the safest state in the country.
We'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Weimer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. Any minute now, we are expecting the release of body camera video showing the situation, the response by police that led to the shooting death of Tri-Marea Charles by Titusville police back in February. This has been a struggle for his family to get the that body camera video released while the investigation had been going. They had been asking for it, been asking for questions, been asking for answers, been asking to see that body camera video for months. We know the mother of Tri-Marea Charles finally got the chance yesterday to see that video, and that comes just a couple of days after the state attorney's office there cleared the officers in connection with this, saying their use of deadly force was lawful and justified. Fox 35's Chancellor Wynn had the chance to speak with Samantha Charles outside of the Titusville Police Department. After seeing that video, here's what she said.
I still don't have closure for my baby.
Yeah.
Still ain't getting no closure.
Overcome with emotion, the mother of Tri-Marea Charles is leaning on those closest to her.
It's been 4 long months to get the footage to get answers what happened to my son.
For more than 120 days, Samantha Charles pleaded to see the officer-worn body camera video of her son's death. And now she's looking to change the time frame in which videos of officer-involved shootings are released.
We're calling on statewide reforms, that videos are released within 15 days, that crucial information is made public to people so that the community does not have to go through this.
The type of change that friends of the family like Christina Michelle have been advocating for since the deadly shooting on February 7th.
People should feel safe and comfortable with the people that swore to protect us.
Loved ones of Tri-Marea Charles have become familiar with Titusville City Hall, having spoken out at council meetings pleading to see the officer-worn body camera video. Now they say they're going to continue coming here pushing for change from city leaders.
We are being killed, and we are being killed in multiple ways. Our streets are not safe, and we need transparency and trust.
Even though the state attorney's office deemed the use of force by the 2 Titusville police officers that night was lawful and justified, Michelle says she will continue advocating for police reform and a safer Titusville.
There's a lot of violence, and we cannot and we will not give up.
And again, we were initially told that body camera video would be available publicly starting at 8 a.m. At last check, it had not. In fact, it looks like it has just been made public. We will not be showing that right now. We'll have to obviously go through that and see what's appropriate. But hopefully have an update for you coming up this afternoon on Florida Live, because again, that video has just now been made public. Now to Flagler County, where some crazy video shows a woman in an SUV chasing down a 14-year-old on an e-bike. This happened in Palm Coast, and deputies say this woman took her chase after this teenager onto a trail that people use for exercise. Fox 35's Matt Trezza has that story.
I'm standing alongside one of our recreational trails right now. It's scary to imagine any kind of vehicle driving down a trail like this.
There's this lady trying to hit me.
Headlights. This video was from the point of view of the 14-year-old boy riding that e-bike as he rides for his life while being chased by an SUV down a multi-use path in Palm Coast.
She was chasing me home, which was a very, traumatic experience because I wasn't expecting that at all, because I felt safe in both my friend's community on that bike path.
Investigators say 65-year-old Julia Kalthoff is behind the wheel of that vehicle. She reportedly told deputies that she was angry at the teen for riding the e-bike too fast and wanted to find out where he lived so she could talk to his parents. At one point, a witness says that SUV was hot on the 14-year-old's heels, getting about 6 to 10 feet from him. That witness put his own vehicle in the way, bringing an end to this wild chase.
I'm super glad, super excited, so very thankful for the witness. I can't thank him enough for stepping in and helping him,
so that teen could get back home to his parents.
I came home, I was literally shaking.
As for Kalthoff, she was released on $3,000 bond. E-bikes have become a contentious issue in several communities recently, We talked to Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley about the e-bike issue.
You're zooming across intersections where there's not traffic right then, but they're not even slowing down. So even if there was traffic, potentially they could get hit as they come off that sidewalk to go across the road and get splattered.
Sheriff Staley says he'd like to see some changes when it comes to e-bikes. He'd like to see them prohibited from trails and sidewalks and have them follow the rules of the road like any other vehicle. Matt Trezza, Fox 35 News.
And we do know a number of communities are beginning to kind of grapple with that issue and look at some of those regulations as well. So certainly not the end when it comes to those the regulations of the e-bikes. Well, that is going to do it for us here on Fox 35 News Plus this morning. We appreciate you joining us here live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We are here weekdays 11 a.m. with Fox 35 News Plus. We also hope you join us at 2 p.m. with Florida Live. Want to let you know a little bit of what we have coming up at 2 o'clock on Florida Live on YouTube and Fox Local. We are going to be following up on preparations for these No King's Day protests that you will be seeing across the country tomorrow. A number of them in our area. We're speaking with an organizer of one of those, and we'll have an update on that coming up in 2 o'clock. You heard Representative Ana Escamani talking about that and as well just a little bit ago. We're also obviously following up, as I mentioned, on the body camera video in the shooting of that Titusville man back in February. And then we also hope you join us at 4 o'clock for Fox 35 News Plus as we break down the top stories of the day and speak with our reporters about what they've been working on as well. So we've got a lot to work on here in the Fox 35 newsroom, so we're going to step aside for a little bit, but we will see you at 2 or sooner if need be. Thanks for joining us this morning on Fox 35 News Plus.